everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Week in Review. If you're new to the Dice Tower, this is a series of videos we do each Monday that tells you all the videos we did the prior week, short summaries of each of them. And that way, if you want to watch the whole video, hooray! Not inconveniently, we put a link to each of them in the description below. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia. Here's what I did last week. So I did another video of Zee's quick reviews in which I talked about 5 games briefly and gave them a rating. That included $1 Million Script, Sherlock Files, and a few others. So check that out. I'm not going to go over all those scores here. Just check out the video. None of them are that good. And then I reviewed Unlocking Insanity, which I gave a 3 out of 10 to. This one is a roll and write style game that I thought brought just nothing new to the table, but above and beyond that, just nothing interesting. It's very mathy, sort of annoying math, not difficult math. It's got some graphical issues. The game is, I found it to not really be engaging. It has this theme of going insane, which is a little clunky. Nothing really worked here for me. And then I reviewed AlakaBlast, which I gave a 7 out of 10 to. This is a little card game in which you are magicians or magical sort of creatures dueling each other. And it has a neat Hanabi-like twist to it in which some cards are facing you, some are facing away. You need to gather information about those cards and then challenge players to duels, either in elemental magic or just pure strength. Put a card out, flip it, see who wins, try to win these gems. It's cute, it's clever, it's maybe it has a couple more rules than a game of this type would warrant, perhaps, but it does stand out just from being different, from having nice graphical design, and the whole thing is, I could see it fitting into some folks' collections that have a lot of these little card games. So this one is neat, and I do recommend it. And that's it for me. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, this week I took a look at Dice Realms in a Foursquare review. I gave this one a 7.5. I think it's a good, solid game. It's pretty massive. I like the storage solution that comes in it and everything. The idea of engine building your customizable dice is really cool, but it is dice, and so it's going to have some luck to it, and it could be kind of swingy. But so 7.5, I like it a lot. One that I think you should check out. But then the other review I did with Wendy was Hansa Teutonica, the big box. Gave that a 9, almost called it Istanbul the big box. Hansa Teutonica the big box is my favorite size of big box I think I've ever seen. It is an amazing basic game. It is an amazing game with a new addition of the maps to really ramp up the difficulty. If you've played it a lot already, I think the new maps will give you some really awesome and meaningful variability and some more challenge to it. So a 9, fantastic for me. Love it. That's been my week.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeff. I'm Captain Lagolia.
And I'm Ensign Stefan, it says here.
And this week we pointed our phasers at Deep Space D6 Armada by Tony Go and Tau Leader Games. Much like its solo-only predecessor Deep Space D6, Deep Space D6 Armada is a space-themed survival game, which this time supports up to 4 players cooperatively. Conceptually, this game is great and features RPG-like elements that let players upgrade their ship and improve their crew in asymmetrical fashion. But in reality, the game is very repetitive and is completely random at how long it may take you and your friends to complete a single playthrough. That, along with some questionable component decisions, led me to score this game a 6. But I had a blast producing my first video for the Dice Tower, and I really hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
This week I reviewed Dice Realms with a 7.5 and Hansa Teutonica with a 9. So I gave Dice Realms a 7.5 because I think it's very interesting mechanically. The switching out of the dice faces, it does remind me a lot of Dominion in the sense of you have to read the layout of kind of what comes out at the beginning of the game and make your decisions by that. But also you get to really dive into that mechanic. So I think it's very interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. It is very dice-based and therefore much luckier than a deck-building game like Dominion. So it doesn't get this astounding score, but it is a great game at 7.5. And then Hansa Teutonica, the big box version, I gave this a 9 because I loved it. So I already really enjoy this game. It's something that I've played for a few years now. I find that it works really well at 5, which I appreciate. But also these maps add some interesting new strategic ways to play the game. You know, one of them you have to move into like blue and brown regions, but to be able to build in those regions, you have to gain an office in one of those cities. So there's very interesting things strategically going on. There's also a couple different extra powers that you can earn throughout the game or special objectives you can get. So it's very fun the way that it kind of mixes it up. Already Hansa Teutonica felt like was a great game on its own, and then this only improved it. So that's what I played this week.
Hello everyone, this week I reviewed Next Station London by Blue Orange Games. This is a flip and write game where you're effectively sketching out like a London underground over the 4 rounds. Each round you're doing a different line, and that's going to cause you some problems to work around in later rounds, and you're scoring for various different things to make a rather enjoyable game, which I gave a 7.5 out of 10. Make sure you check out the review for more details.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and this week I reviewed the solo mode for Dungeon Drop, which is a very silly dexterity, almost party game where you have a number of cubes that represent loot and monsters, and you take those cubes and you shake them around in the box that the game comes in, and you dump them on the table. That creates a dungeon, and in the solo mode you're playing something called Solo Spelunker, where you are trying to delve deeper and deeper into the dungeon, trying to gain a certain number of points to get a particular title at the end of it. So it's a game that you have to be willing to get past some rules ambiguities, and it's very silly. And if you're in the mood for something silly, I think that it does do something unique in the solo gaming space. For that reason, I gave it a 7 out of 10. That's the only review I did this week, but I also started a new show called The DiLisio Factor, which is going to be me playing through solo games live on a live stream and interacting with the chat. And so this week was the first time I did that, and I did it for the game Wild Serengeti. So if you'd like to see me try to capture video footage of animals on the Serengeti in Africa, you could check out that video and see how it went. All right, well, that's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
All right, so for me, man, I'm so sad about this. Lord of the Chords. I wanted to love this game. A somewhat satirical look at composers and music. And unfortunately, you have to know a decent amount of music theory to understand most of what's going on in this game. And the game behind it is a take that card game. It's not very good at all. 4 out of 10. Color Clue Caterpillars is a little puzzle game for little kids, but it's just too easy. I don't think there's enough there to justify it. 5.5. Tiny Acrobats. I gave this a 6 out of 10. It's okay, but unfortunately it's based on Meeple Circus, and Meeple Circus is pretty much better in every way. Pirates Cove is a classic game I took a look at from years ago, almost 20 years ago now, from Days of Wonder. There's a few things I might fix as time has gone by, but it's still a fun game, a simultaneous selection, 7 out of 10. Dream Runners, a simple game where you are forming a grid in front of you, trying to collect cool things from dreams and fight off nightmares. I enjoyed it, 7 out of 10. Startropolis, lots of plastic in this game. You're building a 3D space station, and you are attaching things in 3D. So it's like a tile laying game, but you're manipulating a space station. A little shorter than I like it to be, but it's fun, 7 out of 10. Sanssouci, this is a tile-laying game of you're building gardens and then moving nobles through those gardens. It's from Michael Kiesling, who did Azul. This has barely any theme. It's a pretty simplistic game, but I found it to be fun, 7.5. Dice Realms, we did a 4 Squares review on this one. This is essentially a dice version of Dominion, a deck building game, but here you're building the sides of your dice. Lots of combos, lots of cool things. It's a pricey game, but there's a lot of cool things in it, 8 out of 10. I took a look at the 2 new factions for Summoner Wars, the Cloaks and the Avians. This is for second edition of Summoner Wars. They're both really fun. Avians are really fast. The Cloaks has a summoner who can copy abilities and just kind of a cool maneuverability. Love it, love it, love it, 10 out of 10. I also took a look at my top 10 games from Osprey Games. The A-Team took a look at their top 10 family games. I did another shelf review. I showed how I upgraded 5 tribes. We did all our live stuff, crowd surfing, board game breakfast, and some of us took a look at the stats of our top 100 games of all time. So that's what we did this past week on the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time.